Welcome back to News USA, January 8th, 2021. We are a couple of days post the absolute psychosis or psychotic episode that happened on Wednesday, January 6th, during the certification of the Electoral College votes, in which Vice President Pence was set to certify the vote. We had a slew, thousands of diehard Trump supporters storm the Capitol building. Everybody knows the story. It is a horrible story. We're now up to 5 deaths because of this. It appears that the officer who was an officer who sustained injuries during this terrorist attack, if you want to call it that, has succumbed to his injuries and he has passed away. Flags are flying at half-mast. I believe Nancy Pelosi, she designated that the flags would fly at half-mast in honor of this officer who lost his life in, performing his duties while these people stormed the building unlawfully. We've had President Trump come out and give somewhat of a concession speech. He said that there will be a transfer of power. He also stated that what took place on January 6th was wrong. It shouldn't have happened. He condemned it. And he said that everyone who was a part of it deserves to be punished to the fullest extent of the law. Now, that's a very, very stark contrast to his political output or outcry before this event happened. And it's being reported by people from within his cabinet. Some sources are saying that he was actually happy about what was going on while it was happening behind closed doors in the White House. And there are some folks out there saying that he was just saying this to be politically correct, to try to back off of some of the heat that he's receiving from around the political spectrum and the citizens themselves. We saw a massive fallout, the likes of even some of his own constituents who have been backing him, such as Lindsey Graham. He is now saying he doesn't want anything to do with it. He doesn't want anything to do with what's going on anymore with this whole stop the steal or overturning the election. It's also being reported that him and Vice President Mike Pence are no longer on speaking terms. I think this was going on a little bit beforehand, but I think it's official now where they really aren't on speaking terms. I wouldn't blame them. The tweet that President Trump sent out there saying that Vice President Pence failed to, have the courage to do what he needed to do to overturn the election. I mean, that sounds like a go get 'em threat to me, if you ask me. We saw members of Trump's cabinet pretty much resign. They're done. Betsy DeVos, Elaine Chao, they're no longer a part of the administration. It was also reported that other members from actually within his cabinet, let's take a look at it. Actual members from within his cabinet were also seeking to invoke the 25th Amendment to try and get him removed. It's being reported that there were calls being made to cabinet members to not leave the White House because they still needed them to do their jobs, because there was more of them who were deciding to leave after this situation. Seems to be a bipartisan, maybe not completely, but there is some bipartisan talk of possible impeachment. There are lawmakers on the left and right who agree that President Trump needs to be pulled out of office. Now, do I foresee this happening? He may be impeached, but I don't know if the Senate would go ahead and push it through and agree to remove him in this last 12, 13 days, whatever it is. I think this would be more so of a signal of wrongdoing, a signal, just a just to add another stain to what he did, just to a signal of shame is what I think it would be. I don't think that it would pass in the Senate. It could, if there's a possibility, but I doubt it. Will it pass in the House? More than likely. Nancy Pelosi has said that she was giving Vice President Pence a little bit of time. We don't know how much time that is. Maybe it could be a day, a couple of days to invoke the 25th Amendment. And if he didn't, the House would quickly move to impeachment of President Trump. Now, if this does happen and he is in fact impeached, this would be the first time in U.S. history, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that a U.S. president has been impeached twice. He'll be impeached twice, but in my opinion, he probably won't be removed. There's been calls for President Trump to resign, which, if you ask me, if you're playing against Trump, you almost have to say the opposite of what you want him to do. You should be saying, if you want Trump to leave, what you should be saying is, hey, Trump, please do a great job your last couple of weeks in office. Then he'll turn around and say, well, no, I'm leaving. It seems like he does the opposite of what people ask him to do, the complete opposite in most cases, especially when he seems to be upset. But he did come out and release that message. It seemed to be against his will. At least that's what it was being reported, is that this was urged by his cabinet members, that he needs to get out here and calm this thing down. We still have the inauguration that's coming up. President Trump also said that he will not be attending that. He sent out a tweet earlier today saying, for those who are wondering, I will not be attending the inauguration, which we already knew was a possibility, but it is now confirmed he will not be there. President-elect Joe Biden has already said that he doesn't care that Trump doesn't want to go to the inauguration. You know, he said it would be a good thing for the people to see, but it doesn't hurt him personally. It doesn't bother him. The security official, the Senate Sergeant at Arms, has resigned due to the response at the Capitol. It's incredible to me that these people were able to just waltz into the Capitol the way that they did. Could you imagine if this was some type of organized militia or organized terrorist group, what could have happened, how easily they could have breached? If they had an organized plan to get this done, these guys were waltzing around the Capitol building like it was nothing. There were officers taking pictures with them, letting them walk through. Sure, they were outnumbered, but not very much effort in pushing them out of there. There's been a lot of talk about what if this was Black Lives Matter, or what if this was a movement by blacks? What would have happened to them? They'd probably be dead in the streets. They'd probably be shot. I don't know that to be the case, but I do know that it does appear that in most cases, there does seem to be more aggression towards minorities. There was some police aggression out there. Not all of them were just allowing people to do whatever they wanted to do and storm the building, but it was not to the same extent as we've seen in the past. Think about when President Trump went to take that picture with that Bible in front of that church. That was a very different response for a photo op. We don't know what's going to happen with the inauguration, whether there's going to be another mass event like this, whether they're going to try and disturb the inauguration. We don't know. I'm pretty sure that at this point, security is going to be through the roof. It is as it should be. But these are strange times. I'm very disappointed in what happened. And hopefully we don't see anything like this again. We got to stop eating ourselves. We got to stop the division. It doesn't hurt anybody but ourselves as citizens. And those people who were strolling around the Capitol building, especially the ones who were sitting around in chairs with their feet up or whatnot, I believe they've been arrested. They're in custody, as they should be. I believe there was one of them with his feet up. He was bragging about how he took a letter or something off of Nancy Pelosi's desk or out of his desk, and he left a quarter there, I guess as payment for what he took. We'll see if he enjoys that stint that he's going to have in a prison somewhere. Hopefully this thing doesn't keep blowing up out of proportion. President Trump did make a statement where he said that, his relationship with his followers or with his supporters is not done yet, something to that extent. Who knows what that means? Hopefully it's not anything serious, anything that leads to any more uprisings or violence or anything like that, because we keep going in this direction and things are going to get bad, and I don't want them to get bad. Hopefully most of you don't either. But insane times. Never would have thought that I would ever see anything like this, what you see on your screen right now. Absolutely incredible. The world was shocked. The world could not believe what happened, and there was a lot of world leaders who condemned President Trump, who incited all of this. Yes, he did. He incited all of this. Him and his friend, his attorney, who, if I'm not mistaken, was calling out, let's go take it by war. Let's go take it by fight. Something like that. By a fight. A lot of the focus is being put on Trump, but his attorney, his little sidekick, was saying a lot of stuff as well that helped incite this. Very, very disappointed, especially as a veteran. Very disappointed. We'll have to wait and see what happens, what's going to go on with this impeachment, if they're going to move to impeach him, if he's going to resign. I don't see that happening. It's a possibility, but I don't see that happening. If he is impeached, he'll be impeached in the House. I don't see the Senate removing him. There's already been a few Republican senators who have said that they don't agree with impeaching him at this point in time. Hell, they didn't agree with it the last 4 years. Why would they agree with it now? People have been warning about this, about the rhetoric. People have been warning about the stoking of division. People have been warning about it. Now when this happens, everybody is shifting their talking points. Everybody is, oh, well, I'm moving away from this. I don't want nothing to do with it. Enough is enough. About the only Republican out there who was vocal the entire time against all of this type of stuff, I believe, was Mitt Romney. Most of the other guys played right into his hand. Mitch McConnell tried there a little bit after the Electoral College certified the vote. He came out and said, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, are the president and vice president elect. But he played along for a while there as well. The Republican Party is supposed to be the party of law and order. That's what they pride themselves on. Well, the Republican Party is responsible for probably the most heinous act or non-protest act in recent U.S. history. Let the Republicans tell you, this is the left. This is what the left does. Not one smashed building, not one burnt building. This when we protest, that's the left. Not this time. 5 people dead. Unbelievable. Like I said, we'll see what happens. Hopefully these next 2 weeks just go by pretty smooth. 12, 13 days, whatever it is, just shy of 2 weeks. We'll see what happens. But if not, then who knows? That's all I got for now. Thanks for stopping by. If you're a supporter, if you're here till this point and you've listened, I appreciate you. Thank you for the support. Stay tuned to News USA.